There is a slot machine on a casino floor somewhere right now that is about to pay out big. Not maybe, not possibly. It is going to pay. The math demands it. And right now, some completely random person is going to sit down at it. They're going to win. They're going to be absolutely delighted. And they're going to have zero idea why it happened. I spent over 10 years as a floor supervisor tracking exactly this. Machine performance, payout data, the patterns that repeat themselves week after week like clockwork. And today I'm telling you the 5 signs we use to track which machines were primed to pay. Not because I left the industry on bad terms, but because this is the information that was always yours to have. Nobody just bothered to tell you. Let me start with something the casino industry counts on you never thinking too hard about. Every single slot machine on that floor has a target. It's called an RTP, a return to player percentage. Basically, the machine is programmed to pay back a specific percentage of everything it takes in over its lifetime. Could be 88%, could be 94%. Depends on the machine, the denomination, and the location. But whatever that number is, it is not optional. The machine has to hit it. Not today, not this hour, but over time, the math corrects. And that correction is where things get very interesting. Sign number 1 is something we called high coin in, low coin out. And if you understand this one concept, you already know more than most players who have been gambling for years. Coin in is the total amount of money wagered on a machine. Every spin, every bet, it all adds up. Coin out is the total amount that machine has actually paid back in wins. When those two numbers are out of balance in a serious way, when the machine has been taking in significantly more than it's been paying out, the programming has to catch up. Not because of luck. Not because the machine feels bad for anyone. Because that's how it's built. A machine programmed to return 90% that's currently sitting at 60% payout over thousands of spins is carrying a debt, and at some point it has to pay that debt back. As a supervisor, I looked at performance reports every single day. Every machine on the floor had a number next to its name. Its hold percentage, how much it kept versus how much it took in. When a machine was holding 15, 18, 20% above its programmed rate, we flagged it. Not to fix it, just to watch it, because we knew what was coming. The math always catches up. I watched it happen dozens of times. One that still sticks with me was a Buffalo Gold sitting dead center on the floor on a Saturday. By mid-afternoon, that thing had been cold for 6 straight hours. Players cycling in and out, nobody hitting anything meaningful. Our data showed it holding almost double its normal rate. By evening, that same machine paid 3 separate bonus rounds in under 30 minutes to 3 different people. The place went crazy. Looked like the machine randomly turned on. It didn't randomly turn on. It did exactly what its programming said it would do. We just knew it was coming. Now here's the part one have to be honest with you about, because I am not going to tell you something that isn't true. This correction happens over hundreds and thousands of spins. Not 20, not 50. If someone sat down 5 minutes ago and the machine is cold, that is not the sign. The sign is sustained play, sustained losses, volume, over a serious period of time. Watch machines that have been busy all day with nothing to show for it. Notice if a popular game hasn't triggered a bonus in hours. Those are the ones sitting on a mathematical correction. And the more extreme the deviation, the more dramatic the payback tends to be when it finally comes. But that's not even the most interesting sign. Because sign number 2 is one that most players completely misread. And misreading it costs them. Near misses. Those moments where the bonus symbols land on 2 reels, but not the third. Where the jackpot icon stops 1 position above the pay line and just sits there mocking you. Most players see a near miss and think one of 2 things. Either, I almost had it, I'm so unlucky, or this machine is just teasing me, I'm leaving. Both reactions miss what's actually happening. Near misses are not accidents. They are programmed. Game manufacturers build them into the real mapping intentionally. They create tension. They keep you playing. That part everyone kind of suspects. But here's the part they don't tell you. The frequency of near misses is not constant. It changes. And when it clusters, when you're seeing 2 out of 3 bonus symbols repeatedly within a short window, that is often a sign of where the machine is in its cycle. Before a big trigger, near misses tend to stack up. The RNG, the random number generator, is cycling through number sequences. Certain ranges produce near misses. Certain ranges produce the actual bonus. And when it's deep in the near miss territory, it's circling the bonus range. We used to say in the supervisor's office that a machine was warming up when we'd see this pattern on the monitors. And we were usually right. I watched a player once on a Buffalo Gold going through near miss after near miss. Bonus symbols on reels 1 and 2. Not 3. Over and over. I was watching on surveillance because I'd seen this pattern before. 12 near misses and 40 spins. On spin 47, the bonus triggered. Over 150 free spins. Final payout was $2,800. The near misses weren't bad luck. They were the signal. Now I want to be clear here, because I'm not telling you to dump unlimited money into a machine just because you see 2 bonus symbols twice in a row. Set a limit. If you're seeing the pattern for 50 spins and nothing is triggering, reassess. Near misses are a signal, not a guarantee. But if they're stacking up consistently, don't be in a hurry to leave. Something is building. And this is where it gets crazy, because sign number 3 is the one that goes against almost every instinct a player has. If you see a machine pay someone else a decent win, and they cash out and leave, your instinct is probably to avoid that machine. It just paid. It must be done. That instinct is exactly wrong for a specific type of slot machine. High-variance machines, the volatile ones, the Buffalo Series games, Lightning Link, Dragon Link, anything with stacked wilds or progressive bonus features, those games are not designed to pay out steadily. They are designed to accumulate and then release. And that release doesn't always happen in one burst. It often happens in a cluster. Multiple payouts within a short window. Medium-sized wins that precede larger ones. The machine doesn't know or care that someone just won. The RNG doesn't reset after a payout and go into a cold phase. The burst cycle has a duration measured in spins, not in payouts. One payout doesn't close the window. Multiple payouts within that window are exactly what the programming expects. I saw this at least twice a week for years. A Lightning Link machine pays $650 to a player. They're thrilled. Cash out, walk away. Within 30 spins, the next person hits the linked bonus for $1,200. I watched this happen so consistently that it stopped being surprising. The first player captured one wave of a multi-wave cycle and walked away thinking they'd beaten the machine. They hadn't beaten it. They just left in the middle of it. Here is the practical version of this. If you see someone win a moderate amount, let's say between $200 and $800, and they get up and leave, that machine is worth sitting at for a test run. Give it 50 to 100 spins. See if the cycle is still active. If nothing is happening by then, move on. You're not chasing the previous player's win. You're checking whether the machine's burst window is still open. And very often it is. But here is the important distinction, and I'm going to say it clearly because it matters. This applies to moderate wins, not massive jackpots. If a machine just paid out $5,000 or more, that is a different conversation entirely. A major jackpot often does trigger a reset. The machine has satisfied a significant variance requirement, and it typically enters an accumulation phase afterward. There's a big difference between someone winning $400 and someone winning $15,000. Know which one you're responding to. Now, sign number 4 is the one that advantage players have been quietly exploiting for years. And the casino industry has never quite figured out how to stop it, because legally they can't. Progressive jackpots that have a ceiling are called must-hit by progressives. The name says exactly what they are. A machine might say must hit by $500. That means the jackpot will trigger before it reaches $500. It is guaranteed by the programming. It has to hit. The casino doesn't get to decide. The jackpot grows, and at some point before it hits that cap, it pays. No exceptions. Now here's what makes this exploitable. Most of these progressives hit between 80 and 95% of their cap. Not right at the bottom. Not right at the maximum. Somewhere in that upper range. We kept spreadsheets as supervisors tracking every progressive hit and the amount it paid at. Over time, patterns emerged. Specific machines that consistently hit at 87%, others that almost always went to 93% before triggering. The data was consistent enough that it wasn't random. It was the programming expressing itself over a long enough sample. Here is the part that flips the math in your favor. When a must-hit by progressive is sitting at $150 out of a $500 cap, the expected value of playing it is negative. You'd likely spend more chasing it than you'd win when it hits. But when that same progressive is showing $480 out of a $500 cap, the math changes dramatically. You're very close to a guaranteed trigger. The jackpot has to pay before it reaches $500. That's not a theory. That's the written programming. Some advantage players do nothing else but walk casino floors scouting for must-hit-buy progressives near their caps. They're not playing hunches. They're calculating expected value and waiting for it to go positive. I'll tell you now, I have personally used this. After a shift, I spotted a must-hit-buy progressive at $965 on a machine that historically hit between $920 and $980 based on months of tracking. I sat down. 90 minutes later it triggered at $977. That was not luck. That was data. If you want to use this sign, track the must-hit-buy progressives in your local casino. Note the cap. Note where the meter is sitting. Come back over multiple visits and watch where it hits. After a few observations, you'll have a personal data set that tells you exactly when the math is in your favor. One warning, and I mean this. Don't pour unlimited money into a progressive just because it's high. If you're spending $200 chasing a $500 progressive, even one that's at $480, do the math first. The expected value has to justify the risk. If it doesn't, move on. There will always be another progressive, another visit, another opportunity to catch it at the right moment. And then there's sign number 5, the one I almost didn't include because it's the most misunderstood topic in the entire industry. And I want to be very specific about what I am and am not saying. Casinos do not remotely adjust slot machine payout percentages based on time of day. I know that's something people believe. I know it sounds plausible. It is not how the system works. In most jurisdictions, changing an RTP setting requires physical access to the machine, gaming commission paperwork, and documentation trails. You can't flip a switch from a back office on a Friday night and tighten the machines. That's not a thing that happens. What does happen, and what I was directly involved in, is strategic machine placement based on performance data. Every morning, management reviewed the overnight reports. Every machine, its hold percentage, how it performed against its programming. And if a machine was running hot, paying out significantly more than its rate, it got moved. Not reprogrammed. Moved. Physically relocated to a lower traffic area, because a generous machine in a prime high-traffic location costs the casino a lot more money than that same machine sitting in a back corner where fewer people find it. And the opposite was also true. Cold machines, the ones holding more than expected, got moved to the prime spots. Center floor, high visibility, maximum exposure. Because that's what makes the most money. What this means for you is this. If you walk into a casino and a popular game is suddenly sitting in a weird spot near the back exit or tucked beside the bathrooms, there is a reason for that. It paid out too much somewhere else, and management moved it to reduce exposure. The programming didn't change. The machine didn't change. It just moved. And the player who notices the move has found something the average visitor walked right past. I watched an advantage player do exactly this. He'd been tracking a specific Wheel of Fortune machine for weeks. Knew its location, knew its behavior. Management moved it at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday to a back corner because it was holding 4% on a machine programmed for 9%. An 80% payout rate. They were furious. He found it in the new spot the next day, played it for 2 hours, and hit 3 bonus rounds. Over $1,500. The move didn't reset anything. It just changed who noticed the machine. He noticed. He won. That's the whole story. As for time of day, the pattern supervisors observed weren't the result of different programming at different hours. They were volume effects. More players mean more spins per hour, which means machines cycle through their mathematical requirements faster. By early morning, machines had absorbed hours of overnight play and were often sitting on accumulated corrections. By late afternoon, the lunch crowd had built up enough volume that payout clusters would start appearing. These weren't guaranteed windows. They were tendencies that showed up in the data consistently enough that supervisors paid attention to them. Here's the entire thing simplified. Walk the full floor, not just the main aisles. Look for machines in strange locations. Ask why they're there. Check must-hit progressives and see where the meters are sitting. Watch for machines that have been cold and busy all day. Listen for near-miss clustering before you decide to leave. And if someone just had a moderate win and walked away, don't assume the machine is done. Check the window. None of this is a guarantee. I'll say that one more time because it matters. The house always has an edge. Always. What I've given you today is the ability to see the floor the way people who work it see it. To make decisions based on observation instead of feeling. Most players on that floor are reacting. To the lights, to the sounds, to the emotional pull of almost winning. The players who walk out having managed their money, well, aren't the luckiest ones in the room. They're the most attentive ones. That is the casino system. Not a trick, not a cheat, just knowing what to look at. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 5 signs you're going to watch for first. My guess is most of you are going to say the progressive one, because the math on that one is just too clean to ignore. And if I'm wrong, I want to know. Subscribe, because next week we're going into the machines that casinos genuinely regret putting on their floors. The games that paid out so far above expectation that management had actual meetings about them. That's a good one. See you there.